In this horrifying battle, we have the Horror Tarot by Insight Editions, and then we have the Beauty of Horror Tarot put out by Idea and Designs Company, I believe. These are completely different works of art, different types of publishing companies, but since they have the horror in the title, I figured this would be a good mashup and comparison video to see which deck is a deck I prefer one over the other. So please join me as I take a tally on which deck is maybe superior or more horrifying than the other. All right, so for both of these decks, they both have borders. This border is a little bit bigger than this one, and the artwork in the Beauty of Horror Tarot is very RWS, so it's kind of like the Halloween tarot that they just put a splash of horror on the artwork. And for the Horror Tarot, the text on here is very small and it can only be seen if you put it at an angle. So that's already at a, already has points taken off of it. But let's go ahead and get started with the Fool. Both of these, one is very traditional and one is not. This one for the majors in the Horror Tarot, it follows a lady who is in the mid-escape of the horrifying creatures that are in the woods and stuff, and then this is very traditional. I honestly really enjoy this Fool here in the Beauty of Horror. I like it's very clean, and I like the color scheme here, so Beauty of Horror for this. Going into the Magician, one is like a mad scientist-y magician, and then this one kind of the same, but I will say for the Horror Tarot, the overall theme of this is more shadowy. It showcases the most shadowy aspects of each card. But again, this color scheme is very bright, very bold, and I really like this font in the Beauty of Horror. So Beauty of Horror for the Magician. For the High Priestess, I'm sorry, I'm automatically going to give it to the Beauty of Horror. This screams High Priestess, and this one, even without this here, I don't see this as the High Priestess. Now, even though I'm voting on these cards, the artwork, I enjoy both of these decks in its own separate way. They're not as bad. I'm not trying to critique each deck. The Empress here, I automatically do not like this type of Empress. I know it's the shadowy aspect, and even for this one, it's okay. But in terms of these two, it's going to be the Beauty of Horror. Now for the Emperor, these, I really like both of these. So Beauty of Horror for that. The Hierophant, again, another shadow aspect of the Hierophant. Beauty of Horror definitely takes this vote. Going into the Lovers. Now, I love this Lovers. I like the concept. I love that there's two people and then there's a third. And then here, it doesn't really scream Lovers to me. And this snake, oh, I do not like snakes. So Horror Tarot for the Lovers. The Chariot. This is going to be tricky. I love both of these. I love this dark gothic atmosphere with the carriage, and then this one is a mummy, and it's looks like a coffin go-kart. Very tongue-in-cheek. But I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. The Strength, we have the Jack the Ripper type of aspect going here, or concept. And then the Strength here, you have the traditional character with the lion, except this is the undead version. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Beauty of Horror. The Hermit. As you can see, very different in terms of interpretations. This one is more focused on the main thing of the house, but then there's the person in the house, secluded. And then this one here, you have a person going up the stairs It looks like they've been torturing this person and they're just going away to maybe meditate and just figure out what else they can torture them with. I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot for the Hermit. The Wheel of Fortune. This type of concept has been done before. The Halloween Tarot has this. And then this is the very traditional one. Just because I like this concept, I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. Going into Justice. I really like this. I really like this. So the Beauty of Horror. Again, for these cards right here, because the text is so small and you have to have it at an angle to even, you can't even read it like this, I would not see that this was a Justice card. So Beauty of Horror. The Hanged Man. Pretty much the same, but I like this color scheme. So the Beauty of Horror. Going into Death. Now, I love this concept of the Kiss of Death. And then this one is, I guess, the mouth of death. And then people crawling out of it. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot for Death. Now, for Temperance. Again, the shadowy aspect of Temperance here. And then you have here a very traditional Temperance. Love this one. So I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Devil. Don't really expect a spider to be the Devil card, but it works in terms of the guidebook. This was very traditional. I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Tower here. Both are of the same concept, except this tower here is not necessarily falling apart where this one is. It's someone, or the tower is collapsing and you have people falling. Very traditional. So I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Now, the Star card, I'm automatically going with the Horror Tarot because I love the fact that there's a Ouija board and the Star. Going into the Moon, very traditional. You both have werewolves. Easily great cards. But I think I will, just because I like the atmospheric tone, the Horror Tarot. Going into the Sun. Now, this is a very different interpretation of the Sun. It talks about how we put on masks, even though we're like not all happy, joy, and joy. We're basically faking it. So this is like the dark, shadowy aspect. And then you have the very traditional with the child on the skeleton horse. So I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into Judgment. Pretty much the same concept. People rising from the dead. But I really like this atmospheric tone of like Night of the Living Dead. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. Going into the world, I'm automatically going to choose the Beauty of Horror because this Horror World card, I don't get this in terms of like the story that the Major Arcana was trying to say of like the lady was in mid-escape, and this seems like she has not made it, so that's what I'm getting. But I love this traditional world card, so I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. All right, getting into the Minor Arcana, we have the Wand suit. Very traditional for both. I kind of like this devil hand with the candle, and then you have here, it looks like a maybe a zombie, or maybe a person that's been bitten and their hand is been torn off and they're just holding the wand. I think I am going to go with the Horror Tarot. Going into the Two of Wands. This one is very traditional, has a Frankenstein monster, then you have a witch with the crystal ball. Dang. I think I'm going to go with the traditional Beauty of Horror. Going into the 3, I'm not a big fan of this particular 3. I like this traditional Three of Wands here, so the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 4, the celebratory card. Both are very celebratory. You just have a soul person here, and then you have a couple here between the 4 wands. I really like this, so I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 5, very traditional conflict card, battling out, having conflict. But I really like this idea of just the 5 hands in the card. And it seems like this is the 5 hands that were in the previous Wands cards. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. Going into the 6 of Wands, that Victory. This one is very shadowy. It's like a really dark, gritty carousel with the character on this monster-looking horse, and then here you have the very traditional. In terms of the Victory concept, I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 7 of Wands, the Defense card. This one is very creepy. Basically, don't go in the woods at night because you'll find this creature. And I like this concept of, I don't know if this zombie or monster was coming out of the grave. It's very interesting. So I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. 8 of Wands, very traditional. Got that movement card. This one has like a gargoyle type, kind of in the concept of like the 7 of Wands in that defense card. But in terms of 8 of Wands of the act of movement, I'm going to just stick with the very basic Beauty of Horror. The 9, almost there to the finish line. Both are good. But I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror, the traditional 9 of Wands. Going into the 10, I'm going to automatically choose the 10 of Wands here because you have someone carrying all 10 sticks. And then here, I don't know what the message is. I don't understand this. But I love when a 10 of Wands has someone carrying all the wands. Now, going into the court cards, I'm not a court cards person in general, but for some reason, the court cards in the Horror Tarot, they seem random, and some of them are out of place. And then here you have the very traditional stuffy artwork, but it's been splashed with horror. And you have all these ghouls and goblins. So in this instance, I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Knight of Wands, you have a mummy here, and then you have some type of ghoul on a horse. I love when a knight has the horse in it, so I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Queen, this is not a bad queen, but I'm missing something in this. Perhaps the sunflower, maybe the kitty cat, so I'm going to go with the Beauty of Horror. The King of Wands. Now, this is different. I'm going to choose the Fan of the Opera type of King of Wands here, just because it is different and I understand it. This one reminds me of like an emperor, very masculine and very strong leadership type of role. Going into the Cups here, very traditional. You know it's Ace of Cups. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot because I like this arching hand. Going into the 2 here, both seem like they're on a date, but this one looks like the vampire has taken his date into his bed in the coffin. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. The 3 of Cups, both have the same concept. One just shows the hand, and then you have the 3 ladies here, or the 3 ghouls. I like this traditional card. I like that it's the full body. So, the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 4 here. Now, this 4, I don't understand, because I like when 3 cups are in the front, and then the 4 is being offered. Because that is the essence of the 4 of Cups, being offered something. So, the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 5, Look here, basically the same card, crying over spilled milk, or in this case, blood. This one, it's hard because it's pretty much the same card, but I like this brightness to it, so I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. The Six of Cups, the nostalgia, the kindness card. This is just like a very creepy child. And then this one is very traditional. I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the, this is 7? 7 of Cups. Have all these chalices with different things, so you have different choices. But I like this aspect because the person's in it and there just seems like they're very overwhelmed. So the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 8 of Cups, transitioning to a new journey. Essentially the same card, but I really like how gorgeous this is. The beautiful white gown and in the moonlight. So the Horror Tarot. Now, the 9 of Cups, having your dreams basically come true. The scary clown here. But I like this because since your dreams are basically, or your emotions are basically filling up, you're sharing that. So I really like this concept. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. Now, the 10 of Cups here, I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot because I like this image of having your cup overfilleth and you're sharing it with everyone that has supported you and that you love and cherish. So the Horror Tarot. The page here have like a Jack-in-the-Box type of character, and then the traditional page with the fish. But I really like this traditional card, so the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Knight of Cups, now basically the same thing. You have the Headless Horseman, one is headless and one's not. Basically the same. But I really like this Knight of Cups, sorry. So I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. The Queen of Cups. I don't know, I'm really leaning towards this one, so I'm gonna choose this one. I like the close-upness of this, and the Queen is sipping the cup, maybe blood. So the Horror Tarot. Going into the King of Cups, you have like this mermaid ghoul, and then you have this figure here. I don't know, I really like this, so I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. The Ace of Swords. Looks like you have like some type of beast, like maybe a werewolf with a sword, and then you have like just the actual hand. So I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. Now, the 2, basically the same essence here, except you're missing the full figure person, and this person looks like they're in quicksand, and then this one is up against the ocean. Very traditional, but I really like that this seems like maybe it's a vampire or some type of sharp-toothed ghoul. So I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Now, the 3, very generic, very basic, got the 3 swords in the heart. But I like the fact that this is on a platter. Nothing new, but I like the actual heart instead of like, it looks like a wooded heart. So the Horror Tarot. The 4, you have that meditating state. I like this in terms of the vampire in the coffin. Looks like they're just being put in the coffin, or they're just getting in the coffin. And then this one is very traditional. So I'm gonna, but also, oh, there's the 4. I was like, where's the 4 swords? There is on the floor, and not with the vampire holding it. I don't know. I like this color scheme. I really do. I like the fact that they're holding the sword. Ah, damn it. So I'm going to choose the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 5. I'm sorry, but this 5 of swords with the crow, no, I don't get it. I like this 5 where there's conflict, there's some blood in it, there's gore, so the Beauty of Horror. The 6, very traditional in both. You're going on to a journey. This one looks like it's on by itself, but then you have this type of necklace here or something, and then here, very traditional with 3 people on a boat. I like this. artwork. So I'm going to choose the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 7, the Thievery card. You have some type of hunchback ghoul with the 5 swords, and then you have this ghoul with most of the swords leaving the circus tent. I really like this. I like the fact that there's still a circus tent here, or a big top. So the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 8, the entrapment card, but you're not trapped. Just pull open the blindfold. Ooh, and this one is actually holding one of the swords. So that's interesting. I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 9, the Nightmare card. I love a Nightmare card. This one, it's disappointing. I want to see like a person kind of in this position where they're like, feel like they've been woken up, they're in the middle of a nightmare or coming out of a nightmare. So I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. Going into the 10 of Swords. Same concept, but I like the skeleton, so I'm gonna go with the Horror Tarot. Now going into the court cards for the swords, I'm not getting Page of Swords here. I want it like a young, or not a young, but like a youthful figure. So Beauty of Horror. Going into the Knight, got a gargoyle here, and then you have a headless figure here with the horse with no skin. I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Queen, I do not like this Queen. I don't understand why the focus is actually on the necklace in the guidebook. And then this one is very traditional with the Queen holding the sword. So I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror. Going into the King, I absolutely hate this King of Swords. It's like some type of robot looking thing. It's so random. And then this one, the King of Swords, very, traditional. So on default, it's the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Pentacle suit, just a warning, the Pentacle suit in the Horror Tarot is all pippish, so more than likely I will be going over to the Beauty of Horror in most of these cards. So here you have a hand that's been detached holding the pentacle, and then here you have a hand holding the pentacle over the flowery arc. I really like this. And it's not that many Pentacle cards that I like in this suit. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. The 2 here, I like the fact that this ghoul or this winged creature is balancing the 2 pentacles. And then this one you have like a human hand with a kind of like a monster hand. There's like a balance between man and beast. So I'm going to go with the Horror Tarot. Now the 3 here, this is like a Blair Witch Project type of card. I don't get collaboration. And then this one is very traditional. You have at least 2 characters in here that they seem to be collaborating on something. So the Beauty of Horror. Going into the 4, automatically going to choose the Beauty of Horror. I love that this is a pumpkin creature. And then this is just like 4 pentacles and a web. So Beauty of Horror. The 5, going to go with the Beauty of Horror. Just got these symbols in a church. And then this one, even though it's like, what is this? Why is this the 5 with the snowman or the whatever this is? I like it better than this. So Beauty of Horror. Going into the 6, have that giving and receiving. Going with the Beauty of Horror because I like the aspect of the scales. And here you just have some type of devil thing with 3 pentacles on here, and then you have 3 here. Beauty of Horror all the way. Going into the 7, again, Beauty of Horror. I like this concept. I don't get the 7 of Pentacles of like patience and harvesting and looking at what you've done so far. I don't get that from here. So Beauty of Horror, folks. The 8, sorry. Oh, yeah, I don't get this. This, mastering their craft, perfecting their craft, Beauty of Horror all the way. Now, the 9, basically living their best life. So the Beauty of Horror. Now, the 10 here, I love this. I'm sorry. I love this concept of the Ten of Pentacles with the vampire coffins all lined up. And then you have here with the person with their undead dog. But Horror Tarot wins it for the Ten of Pentacles. Going into the court cards, Beauty of Horror all the way. I don't understand why the page is, I guess, underneath the bed. Or maybe the page is here. I don't know. So the Beauty of Horror. Going into the Knight. Have some like a straight jacket type of person. Again, I like when a knight has the horse. So the Beauty of Horror. The Queen of Pentacles. This is giving like some type of witch or Hansel and Gretel type of witch. And then this one, again, the queen is on its throne holding the pentacle. I like this classic imagery with the undead rabbit. So the Beauty of Horror. The king, you have some type of Sasquatch? Some type of really tall, bulky, nightmarish creature in the woods. And then you have the King of Pentacles, reminds me of the Wes Craven movie Shocker or something, and they're holding the pentacle. I'm sorry, the Beauty of Horror wins the King of Pentacles for me. I'm gonna go with the Beauty of Horror beats the Horror Tarot. Even though I really like both of these decks in their own right, they both have some type of vibe that I am drawn to. But when compared to this, the Beauty of Horror Tarot takes the cake. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this comparison? Which deck would you choose? And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.